You're ready.
Okay.
Ryan, are you ready?
Yeah, it's going.
Awesome.
Throughout this semester, I read the book Playing with Fire by Theo Fleury. This book is about Theo, who becomes a very well-known hockey player at a young age. Theo made it to the NHL regardless of his raging alcoholic father or his sexually abusive junior coach. If you haven't read the book, you may be thinking, hey, well, he made it to the big leagues, so his life must be pretty great. Well, not quite. Throughout his NHL career, Theo deals with many issues: alcoholism, drug addiction, his pregnant girlfriend, depression, and suicidal thoughts. Now, regardless of his fame and wealth, do you still think he had a great life? Today, I will be discussing the matter of suicide and its horrific increase over the past 10 years. I have chosen to discuss suicide as the topic of my TED Talk because I believe that it is a very preventable cause of death. Yet more and more people each year are committing suicide because they are discontent with their lives. In 2009, in Canada alone, 3,890 people committed suicide. In 2009, suicide was the 9th leading cause of death among all ages. For the age group 15 to 34, suicide is the 2nd leading cause of death. So why exactly is suicide on the rise? And what is to come of our future? While I was researching this topic, I found a list of famous hockey players on Wikipedia who died during their playing careers. The majority of these causes of death from the early 1900s to the 2000s were mainly related to car accidents, plane crashes, or other causes like cancer. However, when you look at the more recent deaths over the past 10 years, 7 hockey players died as a result of suicide. These include Ricky Ripon, Tom Cavanaugh, Trevor Ettinger, Terrence Tutu, and more recently, Wade Belak. I have no clue who any of these hockey players are, but that's not the point. The point is, how did we go 100 years with not a single hockey player committing suicide, and now, just in the past 10 years, we've had 7. I don't know about you, but that's pretty scary. I'm sure many of you have heard of Wade Belak. He played for the Toronto Maple Leafs for 7 years. And in 2010, I got this autograph signed by him. And that next year, he commits suicide. He had a beautiful and loving wife named Jennifer and 2 daughters. They were only 7 and 4 when he hung himself in his Toronto apartment on August 31st, 2011. According to Maclean's magazine, Belak was in good spirits the night before his death and was even considering his future career in TV broadcasting. He was also rehearsing for the Battle of the Blades upcoming season TV show a few days prior. A buddy of his, Jeremy Benefield, also stated that, based on the text he got hours before the fact, his impression was that he wasn't looking for a way out. So what changed so suddenly? Why was a well-known NHL player, father, and husband keeping his depression on the down low? What caused him to end his life? After doing further research into Belak's life before the suicide, I found that he had been traded by 2 different teams over a 2-year span. He also went 92 games without getting a single goal in his previous season. Also, other celebrities that have committed suicide include actor Michael Gilden from Pulp Fiction, and also Diana Barrymore and Brittany Murphy. A recent study done by Andrew Cheng of the International Journal of Epidemiology came to the conclusion that over-reporting of celebrity suicides can lead to increased suicide rates globally. So why are people obsessed with the media and celebrities? Is suicide becoming a trend? Not only are suicides on the rise in the athletic and celebrity world, but also here in Canada. On October 10th, 2012, a girl named Amanda Todd commits suicide by hanging herself in her British Columbia home. 1 month before her suicide, she posted a video on YouTube called My Story: Struggling, Bullying, Suicide, and Self-Harm, which described her early teen life, transferring from school to school because boys would blackmail her with nude pictures she took years earlier. At the end of the story, she admits to cutting her wrists as a form of self-harm and her numerous attempts to commit suicide, which include drinking Clorox and attempting to overdose on antidepressant medications. Today, this video has over 15 million views on YouTube. Here's a clip.
This is it. Oh, there's no social media.
Another account of teen suicide that shocked her.
Yep, getting there.
And then go to the next one. Another account of teen suicide that shocked our nation just 2 months ago is the story of Rhea Parsons. At age 15, she was allegedly gang raped by 4 boys at a party. After the party, photos were released of her having sexual intercourse with one of the boys, and the photos spread throughout the Halifax community. Her parents filed reports about the alleged rape, but the RCMP closed the case soon after, declaring that there was insufficient evidence. She attempted suicide by hanging in her Nova Scotia home at age 17, 2 years later. Although at first she did not successfully commit suicide, it put her into a deep coma where her parents had no choice but to take her off life support. She died a few days later, on April 7, 2013. Throughout the 2 years between the gang rape, photo distribution, and her suicide, she was continuously called a stupid slut and other cruel names. Both of the stories about Amanda Todd and Rhea Parsons caused the media to go crazy about the bullying and cyberbullying issue. Why was this issue only taken seriously after 2 girls committed suicide? Because of blackmail and continuous harassment by specific online Facebook and Twitter. I have come to the conclusion that social media has taken over our world from Facebook to Twitter. It has taken away our sense of privacy and our sense of communication between each other. That is why our suicide rates are on the rise, and they will continue to be on the rise until something changes. Yeah, sure. There's Kids Help Phone and suicide hotlines, but how much can they really help? A person's words can only help so much, and they can't inevitably change the past. Cell phone companies and internet suppliers need to invest in softwares that filter what's put on the internet to prevent cyberbullying and blackmail, especially amongst teens. Not only should this be done to protect teens from being tormented behind a computer screen, but it will also help celebrities that are constantly stalked by the media and criticized for every little thing that they do. Back in the olden days, people didn't hide behind a little electronic device where inappropriate pictures were sent and people were called sluts and whores. Society needs to regress in order to progress, and that is the only solution.